Hello, Gym+Coffee community. I am Louise and I am the psychology coach for Marathon Mind. I wanted to jump on and do a little video just to explain the psychology portion of this incredibly ambitious project. We often hear ways in which we can be a more exemplary human being, how we can do better. And very often psychology is utilised to help us to understand how to do that, how to increase our performance, how to sharpen and hone our attention and focus skills, right? And how we can better utilise our discipline in our everyday life in order to kind of reach these milestones and these targets. So in essence, it's a means to an end. It's a dance, in order to get the mind trained to get an outcome. And, if everything that we do is outcomes based, we actually often overlook a really critical point. That fulfillment in life is actually dependent on being able to be in the moment. And we miss it. We miss it by thinking ahead. We miss it by getting stuck in the past and lamenting what happened and by trying to change that for the future. And so on this occasion, the marathon is not just about crossing the finish line. It is about the complex interaction between the mind and the body, and then understanding how that impacts how we think and feel about ourselves over the course of the training. And that the point is that, whatever we learn about our journey over the course of the training, that insight, that is a skill for life. That's a skill that you can apply to your relationships and to your career. And it impacts how you see yourself and how you interact with the world from here on out. So it's much more than just honing your performance for this programme. And me, over the course of the next, we're 1 month in, so over the course of the next 8 months or so, I have very little focus on your physicality. If you're fit, if you're eating well, and you're sticking to the training plan, brilliant. My work starts after that. And if you remain open to it, if you're prepared to be vulnerable with yourself, I will be helping you to do that work. Some of what I say in this section on the Marathon Mind training plans, it'll challenge the very essence of getting involved in something like this. And this is why in month 1, I was getting you to write a letter, to yourself to figure out what are your motivations? What is it that's drawn you to do something like this? What are you running towards? What are you maybe running away from? It's okay if it is either of those things, but let's be really clear about it. Let's be honest about it. Let's get really honest with ourselves. And the mind is a funny thing. It will keep jumping in with practical reasons for why you're doing this. And that's fine. And there might be many reasons. But what we also need to be aware of is in what way might those practical reasons be distracting us from what our body needs, or I suppose by that I mean, what sadness do we feel like we keep avoiding, or what anger might we be repressing or suppressing? And what are we using to try and avoid that or escape feeling that kind of discomfort? And these are the emotions that can hijack us when times get tough. Unless we learn to change our relationship with them. And something else I want to say is that we don't have to constantly roll around in positivity in order to be a good person or to feel like a good person. It's unrealistic. And what if I don't feel like being positive today? And what if that's not just okay, but actually necessary? It's actually not a good idea to keep avoiding negative emotions. We become half a person. We're made up of good and bad. We're made up of the experience of good and bad. And it's important that we feel the full range of emotions in order to feel alive, actually, in order to feel connected to what we're doing. So in future episodes of the podcast, we'll be talking about, how coping with those challenges is not just about thinking positively, but actually it's changing relationships. It's changing your relationship with that thought, with that feeling, in order for you to do what matters anyway. So in essence, my role with Marathon Mind is about investigating your mind, changing your relationship with your mind so that it becomes an ally. And that it's not something that you need to battle with in order to do whatever it is that matters to you. And it's not about performing, and it's not about doing better, and it's not about winning. It's about coming home to yourself. and learning to be on your own side.